saw you in the morning light, I just held my place. And it goes with a little time, we'll give our memories grace. We were choosing opportunity over wrong and right. Was a target worth the vanity? Was it worth the sacrifice? Only beggars we were, all these lessons we learned, we can never return. We can never return. Stack of letters in the bottom drawer, all the ink turned gray. And I've tried at least 1,000 times to throw them away. And my thoughts will turn to questions now of the paths we take. Is the one you took a better road when you walked away? Only beggars we were, all these lessons we learned, we can never return. We can never return. Only beggars we were, all these lessons we learned, we can never return. We can never return. Sometimes I see the journey back there. Sometimes I wanna go. Read the lining from my memory. Let the truth be known.
I remember the fields of white, chasing every dream inside. Didn't care who was watching. We knew where we were going. It's all coming back to me. This is where I'm meant to be. I run, I climb over every sea. If that's what it takes, just to get to you.
Friends and family, welcome to the wedding of Brian and Emily. To all their guests, they are so happy to share this moment with you. They've known you for varying lengths of time, some since birth and some for several years. You've watched them grow up. You went to school with them or you worked with them. Because you are the ones who have supported them, known them so well, and celebrated them, it is only fitting that you are the ones to share this joy and once-in-a-lifetime moment with them. We'd like to take a moment to recognize all of those who are no longer with us, especially Brian's mother, Noreen. Even though there are those not here physically, they are part of the foundation that make Brian and Emily the people they are today. May we always remember Noreen, her parents, Noreen and Jim, and Emily's grandparents, Charlotte and John. Please cherish the memories of those loved ones and all others who live on in our hearts. Brian and Emily are thankful to have their families in the front rows close to them for the ceremony. They appreciate all the love and support their parents gave them over the years and are so excited to officially merge their families together today. And so it is that Brian and Emily have come here to be married today, surrounded by the people they love the most. In the spirit of the importance of family and friendships, Brian and Emily have asked Katrina to give a reading.
You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you have been making promises and agreements in an informal way. All those conversations that were held riding in a car or over a meal or during long walks, all those sentences that began with, when we're married, and continued with, I will, and you will, and we will, those late night talks that included someday, and somehow, and maybe, and all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows that you are about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know all those things we've promised and hoped and dreamed, well, I meant it all, every word. Look at one another and remember this moment in time. Before this moment, you have been many things to one another: acquaintance, friend, companion, lover, dancing partner, and even teacher, for you have learned much from one another in these last few years. Now you shall say a few words that take you across a threshold of life, and things will never quite be the same between you. For after these vows, you shall say to the world, this is my husband, this is my wife.
Brian and Emily, it is an honor to stand here with you today as you begin your marriage. So let us move to the vows you've prepared for each other.
Emily, from the moment I met you, your confidence was infectious. I'll always remember the first few times that we met at school as a beautiful sign of things to come. Your I'm here kids energy, confidently marching by with a braced up ankle, set the tone for a relationship filled with laughs, smiles, songs, and a fair share of klutzy moments. I love you because you're a constant fountain of joy, comfort, and encouragement. Whether we're facing down a difficult decision together, I'm feeling stressed at work, or we're just trying to figure out what to do on a weekend. I vow to be that same source of comfort and solutions to you today, tomorrow, and every day after. As we know, we're not exactly the same. And that's one of the things that makes us great. When I sometimes bring the Sabatko patented level of anxiety or overanalysis, you perfectly complement that by bringing the Crow brand of joy and spontaneity. Sometimes those differences show up in our volume levels. You're just a little bit louder than me. And I've been known to gently suggest that we lower the volume, which is not always appreciated. So today, I promise to try not to shush you. But when I do, promise I've never meant to silence who you are. The confident and kind woman I love. Someone who's an amazing friend, daughter, sister, teacher, and partner. And someone who will instill those strong values into our children and be an incredible mother. It's more that maybe we're just talking about something that I don't want the neighbors to hear. I'm so lucky to be marrying you. Your love makes me a better person. And I vow to spend the rest of our lives working to make you feel the same. I love you. Can you hear me?
Brian, from the time we met and I had that butterfly feeling, I felt myself constantly drawn to you, and I'm grateful for our foundation as friends. It gave me a great perspective on the man I was falling in love with. You have filled my life with laughter, adventure, comfort, and excitement. You've taught me how to slow down a little and celebrate the moment. We've built our life together on shared experiences, subway rides, many Italian and taco restaurants, road trips, baseball games, quiet nights at home, long weekends spent with friends and family, and one spunky, tiny corgi puppy. Brian, you are my best friend. You're my rock, the constant cheerleader in my life, telling me to keep going. You ground me in what matters most. You make me feel balanced, and you push me to be the best version of myself. You make me feel so beautiful and constantly loved. I love your warm smile, your big hugs, your laugh. God, I love your laugh. I love you because we value the same things. Building and nurturing relationships, putting family first, dedicating our lives to bettering the lives of children. I love that you never tire of explaining the details of what an at-bat is or what offsides actually means. You're constantly patient with me and take the time to show me that. What? You're constantly patient with me, and you take the time to show me that you care about what I think and what I say, even if it's with a bit of sass. I promise to love you fiercely, even when we get on each other's nerves, when we disagree, or if we struggle to communicate. I promise to never give up on us and to work through the challenges that we face. I promise to prioritize our marriage and our family through every chapter and every adventure that our life takes us on. I vow to love you unconditionally and remind you every day why I married you. I vow to be by your side as we face life's wonders in partnership, in friendship, and as your wife. I love you, Brian. I always have, and I always, always will.
With this ring,
With this ring,
I pledge my love and friendship to you,
pledge my love and friendship to you,
today, tomorrow, and always.
today, tomorrow, and always.
With this ring,
With this ring,
I pledge my love and friendship to you,
I pledge my love and friendship to you,
today, tomorrow, and always.
today, tomorrow, and always.
You may now share your first kiss as a married couple.
For the first time, I can finally see that every path has led me straight to you.
two. You know, I've had a bunch of people ask me the past 2 weeks, did you prepare your talk? Did you prepare your toast? And I said, nah, I'm gonna wing it. I wonder where you get that from, right? And I think like a nerd, you know, like, oh geez, 7 billion people, 195 countries, 6,500 languages, but there's one language that we all speak. And no, I'm not talking about the language of love. Let's come to that in a second. Talk about another language, a language that Emily not only understands like we understand it, but speaks intuitively and beautifully, the language of music. And music has always permeated our house and our hearts and our soul because of you. And the only thing that's more impressive than Emily's love and passion and her abilities in music is that amazing twinkle in her eye and that smile. I mean, you combine those three things, you had no chance, brother. No shot. Okay? She's not like a siren putting you on the cliffs, you know, you're not gonna wreck your ship, right? Because she's amazing, and she's also very smart. Really smart. So she doesn't pick any dummies. And when I met Brian, I'm like, oh, he's a nice guy. Right? He's a nice guy. Sweet, nice, professional. And then you look at his eyes and his smile. And look at his dad's smile. And I go, I love those men. And I guess that's where Emily gets it. Because when you combine those smiles and those twinkly eyes and that beautiful voice, words don't do it justice. I don't even know why I'm trying. If only I could sing. Zoe? I can't sing. Emily can. Maybe she'll grace us with something. But I want to just give a short toast. I'm almost done. I have a clock. And that's to, number one, thank all of you for sharing this very special celebration with all of us. The blending of these families is magical. And the gift of music will always permeate my heart, our hearts, your household, and our souls. And with that, I want to wish you both the joy of laughter every day, the beautiful sound, the pitter-patter of little feet. I'm not talking about Cece. No obligation. But most of all, I want you to always enjoy that beautiful music that just hangs in the air when you sing. And make sure that you have music in your hearts every day of your life. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, gosh. Okay. I'm Lauren Crow, and I'm Emily's sister, obviously. And unlike my father, I cannot wing it. So we worked on this. But, oh God, I'm sorry. Does it sound way too loud? Thank you. Well, I'm honored to be the younger sister of Emily Crow, and the fact that I'm gaining Brian Sabacco as my new big brother. And I'm used to speaking in front of 8 and 9-year-olds, so please just bear with me. And so thanks. And I think about my sister and all the things that she brings into this world. And I'm sure I look out and she's made all of you laugh and cry and sing songs and shown you way too many pictures of Cece, but it's okay because we love her. And I really just can't express how much I love my sister and how blessed I am to have her as my role model. And when I met Brian, I was just really excited like I am now, but I felt this happiness that they had for each other. And the summer that I lived in New York, I was able to spend a lot of time with them, kind of third wheeling, and getting to see Emily and Brian together as a couple. You experience laughter and you witness this just pure love. And Emily has been such a rock in my life, but what's really special is I can't believe that I've lived so much of my life without Brian and the Sabacco family. From the moment I met Brian and his incredible family and friends, my own family has grown to include some of the greatest humans in the world. I love you all so much. Brian and Emily are a couple that bring out the best in each other. They take care of each other. They find joy in the small things, and they love deeply everyone in their lives. So seeing the absolute pure joy and love that Emily and Brian have for each other is really magical. I know they've been waiting a long time to have this actual wedding and get married, but their lives together began a long time ago. And now they have the opportunity to proudly say that they will love each other forever. And Emily and I have always both been Miss Crows in the classroom. My sister's always going to be there for me. And I'm so thankful that I now have Brian in my life. I'm really happy, though, to say I'm now the only Miss Crow because there's a because, don't worry. I'm happy that I'm the only Miss Crow now because my big sister is now marrying the most amazing human and becoming Mrs. Sabaco. So please raise a glass to the newlyweds, Mr. and Mrs. Sabaco.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everyone here tonight, finally. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryan, but you may have also met me as Brian's brother, his cousin, his brother cousin, his parents' best friend's son. Well, I guess you get the idea. I made 2 promises to the bride and groom tonight when I came up here and told them that I was going to give a speech. The first, I'll keep it short and sweet. The second, I won't use any props and I won't be cheesy. So, without further ado, here's my short little speech that I wrote over here. That's having a little trouble unrolling. Just let it go. How many of you look at Brian and you think, gee, what a sweet little angel? He couldn't hurt a fly, could do no wrong. Well, his parents thought so, and so did mine, and Jeff can certainly attest. Brian introduced me to sports years before I would be interested in watching them. And I remember on a random Saturday morning, after we had convinced our parents through blood, sweat, and definitely a lot of tears to let us have yet another sleepover, I remember asking Brian why we woke up on a Saturday morning and were watching SportsCenter and not cartoons. And he replied, he needed to see the Yankees highlights, and he thought cartoons were dumb. How we got along so well all these years, I truly do not know. But we did, and our bond has only gotten stronger over all these years, from just about every Memorial Day weekend, making s'mores in the backyard in Melville after being in the pool for 6 hours at Jeff's request, chatting on AIM with Yanks BMS 2, and talking about nothing and everything until Brian decided he finally had to go do his homework. I rarely felt that same pressure. And neither did Jeff. I remember the first time I visited Brian as a student in Hamilton, and within the first few minutes, I could tell that he was in his element. And for those of you who know Brian, when that man is in his element, oh boy, is he in his element. See also, Brian watching the Yankees, Brian at Yankee Stadium, or Brian watching anything having to do with the New York Football Giants. Brian is the kind of guy who embodies the saying, "You're a sight for sore eyes." Anyone who knows him knows he can change a bad day to a good one just with a hug and a few kind words that always resonate deeply. And when he brought Emily home, I knew she was one of our own. Yes, my 3-man wolf pack became a 4-man wolf pack. But really, when Emily came on the scene, in grand fashion, of course, it wasn't long before I realized that Brian had found his person. Like Brian, Emily too has the magical power to flip your mood on its head just by asking how you are. And a word of warning to everyone who has not been asked how they are by Emily, if you just give her, "Oh, I'm fine," or "I'm good," she will make you tell her, no matter how long it takes. Over the past 3 years, I haven't just been a brother / cousin / every other title I have to Brian and Emily. I've also been lucky enough to be a neighbor. I'm so grateful to have been able to see the two of you so often. Shout out to Calexico and their really, really faulty happy hour system. Emily can give you further details if you're curious. And to watch you grow with each other and become such an incredible, kind, and beautiful couple, especially in photographs. I'm lucky to be gaining such an amazing sister-in-law-ish, and I'm excited for what the future holds for my two favorite people.
And for those of you who don't know, I'm Brian's older brother. Just brother. I don't have any more titles. It's just the one. And as his older brother, when we were growing up, I felt a lot of responsibility to blaze a trail for you, right? I had to push the limits on what the rules were to try to make life easier for you. Dad can probably say that I took my job a little bit too seriously sometimes, but I was committed. The problem was that Brian didn't use any of it. Not a bit. No, Mr. Goody Two-Shoes over here, he followed every rule. I'd try to tell him, oh, that assignment's not going to be on the test. Oh, that chore can wait until tomorrow. And he never listened. And the reason why he never listened was because he never wanted to let anybody down. And if you know Brian today, you know that that rings true from when he was a baby up until now. He is maybe one of the most empathetic person I've ever met in my life, which has its pros and its cons. The pro is that because you are so nice and kind and loving to everyone, everyone is so nice and kind and loving to you, and they respect you like crazy. And the con is that it sometimes comes at the expense of your own fun. There's an easy example for this, which we've heard a little bit about tonight. How many of you here, by a show of hands, have ever been shushed by Brian Sabacco at a restaurant or anywhere else? Okay, there's a lot of hands. I noticed specifically that Mary Crow's hand is down. And now that the wedding is official, I think that yours is coming very soon. Now, personally, I've been shushed by you more times than I can count. Maybe the most ever. Emily's giving me a run for my money at this point. Sometimes I deserve it, sometimes I don't, right? And it's really a classic Brian moment. Because while everybody else is having fun and cracking up, Brian is very concerned about how the people 2 tables over are responding. Are we interfering with their meal? Are they still trying to figure out what to order? It's stressful. Which, I will say, is why it always struck me as a little bit funny that when it came time for Brian to pick the person that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with, he picked Emily Crow. And Emily, I can say a million wonderful things about you, and I will exhaust the list before I come to quiet. It just won't happen. But while it might look odd on paper, in reality it's perfect. Because Emily, you're not too concerned with how the people 2 tables over are doing. You'll invite them into the fun. And more often than not, they'll join because you have that way about you, right? Everybody wants to join in the fun when Emily asks. And when you do, Brian loosens up. All these people that love and respect Brian so much, he gets to enjoy his time with them with a little bit less of that Sabacco patented anxiety. She balances him out. They're a perfect pair. And over the past 4 years, I've seen you guys grow together and support each other and take major steps in your lives, all leading up to the most important moment of all, adopting Cece, the Courtney puppy. This is close, but it's not that close. Seriously, I'm only half kidding though, but seriously. Brian, in Emily, you found a partner who's going to bring happiness and joy to every day of your life. A partner who's going to remind you to brush off the little things and remind you that, yeah, it's okay to bend the rules a little bit sometimes. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. She's gonna brighten up your life and will always put you first. You hit the jackpot. Mom would be so happy. Now, Emily and Brian, you found the kindest, most generous, most wonderful person I've ever met. From the moment he was born, he was my playmate, my confidant. He was the goofball who always made me laugh. He's the rock that I held on to during the hardest times in our life. And I count myself so lucky that just through the accident of birth, you've been stuck with me for the past 28 years, and that's not changing anytime soon. And Emily, welcome to the club, because now he's stuck with you too. It's a great club to be in. I can say from a lifetime of experience that there's nobody better to have by your side in the good moments and in the bad moments. You have hit the jackpot. I couldn't be happier for you. Everybody here couldn't be happier for you. We're so excited for you to take this next step. We're so excited to be with you on every step of the journey that comes. We're always going to be here in your corner, rooting you on. And so I ask if everyone can raise their glass. We're going to toast to a lifetime of love and a lifetime of happiness and a lifetime of laughing just a little bit too loud.
And to Brian and Emily.
To Brian and Emily.
Transition to what is next. I would like you, my dear, to take a seat. No lie. How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? How many times a day do I think of you? How many roses are sprinkled in dew? How far would I travel to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? And if I ever lost you, how much would I cry?